All right, welcome to a special writers group, Right Now Writers Group meeting and Freaky Friday announcement. We're first going to actually be hopping into announcing the 12 finalists for our brand new exciting competition, Freaky Friday, which is going to be airing next week on Friday, October 25th and Saturday, October 26th. So we're going to be talking about that. And then after the announcement, we'll hop into our normal weekly Right Now Writers Group meeting where I have some of my writer friends, and we're going to talk about writing techniques, writing shenanigans, and whatever procrastination is on our mind. So we'll be doing that shortly after. We'll get some writing sprints in a little later on the back end. And we're starting right now. Welcome to the Right Now community. I'm Kaufman, and I'm on a mission to help writers everywhere with the process, lifestyle, and mindset that it takes to be a writer. So come join us. And I love seeing everyone hop into the chat. LeMay, welcome. Courtney, welcome. Fates, who here is excited to know who the finalists are? Fates, welcome. And Tiara, welcome. And we got some of our other writers members, Crazy, Bobby, Soul, ML, David, welcome, my friend. Glad to see you in here. Engineer, welcome. Josie's Crime Corner. Hey, I'm usually just lurking, but since I submitted a story too, I guess I should say hi. Well, glad to have you in here. Mary, what's up? We have our 007 Goldfish, because who doesn't need a goldfish in their corner? I absolutely appreciate you, my friend. And Megan, welcome, guys. Glad to have all of you in here. So this is where we are at. So we're going to hop right into the Freaky Friday announcement. Without further ado, let me bring up our co-host, Miss Penelope Hartley, to the stage. Welcome, my friend.
Hello. How's everybody doing tonight?
I think everyone's super excited. You can see in the chat, like everyone's very stoked about it.
The chat is kind of blowing up. Yeah.
I know. How excited are you about this competition?
Oh man, like it is getting so close to finally being October-y in the air, and just the vibe is getting Halloween-y generally. So, and I think that every time one of those like advertisements plays and you get the creepy carnival music, like it just brings you a little bit closer. And now that the finalists have been selected, it just feels so much more electric. Like it is.
I know, right?
Happening. Yes, it's so happening.
Oh,
I'm still working on my costumes.
I know there's literally so much craziness going on. And like,
oh yeah.
And all the writers in our community, you guys made it really hard on us because you're good writers.
Yeah.
Like not good, you're great writers. We had so many stories to choose from. So I know a lot of writers were asking about how many stories ended up being submitted. So we ended up getting, I want to say we got what, 16 or 18? We got either 16. We got either 16 or 18 stories, which was awesome.
It was an incredible, for the first time we've done this with a very little advertising, just among the community. Like that is phenomenal feedback.
I remember a couple months ago when Penelope pitched me the fiction contest. I'm like, I think the writers in the community would like that. And I was like, all right, well, let's do it like flash fiction. And then we started kind of going through like step by step and really asking ourselves like, okay, well, how do we do something that brings as much value to writers in the community, giving them something that's like an easy way to get in, regardless of what your writing style or background may be. And we've been really impressed with the stories.
Well, and I've always been impressed with the community's creativity. So it was really nice to put that and kind of focus it behind the intention of like, you know, having this competition and the anthology and all of that, and seeing, oh my God, just like the scope of the chills and thrills that you guys came up with. It was, I was so impressed. Yeah, you definitely made our job hard, guys. Wow.
All right. Awesome. So I think without further ado, I think that the reason a lot of some of our other writers are here, I think they want to hear who the finalists are. I mean, we don't need to tell them. we'll wing it.
Or we could just start talking about like your favorite kind of pen or something, and just like,
I'm like, my favorite kind of pen is probably somewhere around here.
oh my god, we probably all have one. Like, I'm very
You know
specific.
what? All right, we'll save our pen conversation when we have our other writers here. Like, they don't care about that in this very moment. So, but I'm super happy to have everyone here, and I know I've seen the chat is so active. Let's see. Yeah, we have so many friends here. I'm glad to see Bobby. I'm so glad you're able to join us. I know you mentioned that you just came from the doctors. So I hope everything is all right with you. I know you're going to hop on the camera with us in just a little bit, but I really appreciate that you came and joined us. So I'm super happy to have everyone else here. Megan, like, we lost our tree walker foxhound Duke on Monday. So that's so heartbreaking, especially when we get close with a pet.
Yeah.
So our heart goes out to you, as we all love dogs. And hopefully, regardless of what we're dealing with and like life's craziness, that we all get to just come and we get to come chat about writing. And then we get to transition or like pull that, like the emotional turmoil that we feel, and hopefully making better stories.
Yes.
All right. So we got the questions Kaufman asks in Discord that no one answers about.
If Kaufman asks a
You
question in the Discord, does anybody hear it?
Wow. Oh, that's a question. I ask a lot of questions. So I'm like, if I ask a lot, then maybe some of them will be answered. Okay. So I think without further ado, I think we're in a good setup. So I have to make sure that everything is set up on my end.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys made it very difficult on us. You guys made it very, very difficult on us. Let us start by saying that you guys made the decision extremely difficult. We thought that it was going to be an easy, like, yeah, we'll do this in like under an hour, and we'll be like, yeah, we'll read through them. Like, there'll be really obvious ones, and it just wasn't the case. I wanted to choose everyone because then I'm like, wow, and I feel like being a bad guy for having to reject some of them.
Yeah.
But the truth is, at the end of the day, we had to choose the 12 best ones based on the three guidelines, based on readability, based on style, and then based on the spooky element in comparison to the submissions that we received. So unfortunately, while we couldn't choose all of them, we chose the 12 that we felt would be best suited for this competition and best suited for the anthology. If you did not get chosen, don't worry. We're actually going to give you an opportunity to edit and share your work in the Discord. So if you do not get chosen, we're still going to give you that opportunity because there were some really great stories, and I wanted you to know that. That's important to me.
No,
Because like, we enter contests all the time, or we enter things, and just because you don't win, use that as a learning to improve for the next contest. We'll make sure that all stories are going to be getting feedback in what worked or what didn't work. So absolutely. All right. And so, Penelope, are you ready to announce the finalists?
I think that I personally am ready to be on board with announcing the finalists. I can't drag this out anymore.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right. So starting with our first finalist, I would say that bear with me. Apparently, we're having technical difficulties. So part of the fun part of doing a live stream. All right, bear with me just a moment, my friends. And all right.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So clearly having some technical difficulties. So without further ado, let me see if I can fix this. You're like, I presume that was supposed to be a video. You're like, that was a very accurate presumption.
That was a good
So,
presumption.
all right, and let me drop this. Let's see. This one was giving us difficulties. So what we're going to do, I just have to go about it a different way. And let's do this entire screen.
I can see you all shiver with anticipation.
Darklings, looks like I've glitched my way into
Yes. The video is on.
Hello. Darklings, looks like I've glitched my way into your screens once again. Did you think I'd let this announcement slip by unnoticed? No chance of that. I'm here to reveal the finalists for the first annual Freaky Friday Flash Fiction Competition. You all delivered such deliciously dark tales, and I'm just dying to announce who made the cut. The finalists are The MacGuffin, The Unusual Suspect, Eli Minkiewicz, Bernadette, Carmen and Darcy, A Story About Some Bugs, Brock Cooper, Night of the Hillbilly, Doreen Zimmerman, The Lost Scarecrow, Marta Chawanska, Devilish Secrets of the Old Walls, Irene, Short on Breath, ML Claxon, The Assignment, Orion Mister, Courtney Stevenson, Laughing in the Dark, Curtis Bowling, If They Find the Bodies, Mary, Adaptation, Nil, Maury's Dilemma. A round of applause for our finalists. Each of these terrifying tales will be read live by our guest authors on our Freaky Friday live stream competition, and you, my Darklings, get to vote for the best. Mark your calendars. October 25th is when the nightmare begins. Are you ready to join me in crowning the best of the best? I can't wait to see whose dark tale will rise to the top. Thank you to everyone who contributed, and if you didn't make the cut, don't fret. There's always next year, and your twisted imaginations are always welcome in my theater of macabre delights.
Mute. All right. So exciting. That reveal would have been so awesome. Pending technical difficulties. I'll be like, blame it on you, StreamYard.
Jezebel's like, oh yeah, you think that's cute, huh?
Yeah, clearly the Aether is messing with us.
And yes.
So one more time, just to clarify, because I want to make sure that everyone heard it. I would say let's read off the finalists. Yep. So in case you guys didn't hear it, all of the finalists will be receiving emails in shortly after today's stream, and we're going to be diving into the Yeah, so we'll be sending the emails for the finalists after the stream, and we'll be including all the details. So the 12 finalists who made it to the next round is the MacGuffin, the
do you want me to
unusual suspect.
do you
What
want
was
me to
that?
drop them in? Oh, do you want me to drop them in the chat so people can read them in case we
Absolutely. You want to do that in do you have okay, perfect.
Yeah,
So
I'll
that way
just
you can
write the
have them in there.
titles.
Yep.
The
And
usual
I'll read them in case anybody missed them. So we have, starting off the top, we have the MacGuffin, the unusual with the story, the unusual suspect. We have Bernadette, Carmen, and Darcy, a story about some bugs by author Eli Minkiewicz. We have Night of the Hillbilly by author Brock Cooper. We have The Lost Scarecrow by author Doreen Zimmerman. We have Devilish Secrets of the Old Walls by Marta Chawanska. We have Short on Breath by author M. Irene. We have The Assignment by author M. L. Claxon. We have Mr. by author Orion. We have Laughing in the Dark by author Courtney Stevenson. We have If They Find the Bodies from author Curtis Bowling. We have Adaptation by author Mary. And then we have Maury's Dilemma by author Nell. So congratulations to everyone. Congrats. I just want to say really, really great job to everyone who made it, all of our 12 finalists. If you didn't, no fret. Like I said, we're still going to have a space for you to be able to share your work. We're going to also give you feedback on your story, even if you did not submit it. So it will be a learning experience. For those who did, you're going to be receiving the email detailed instructions with what's happening next. Penelope, you want to go over the critique portion of it real quick?
The critique portion, yes. So we would like because that this is not only going to be read live, which is really super exciting, during the event next weekend, but also because it's going into perpetuity in an anthology. We would really like people to have the finalists to have the opportunity to have a critique session with us, so that we can just get those stories nudged into the perfect territory, like so they can be the best scary, spooky extravaganza that they can be. So we are currently organizing how we're going to approach this. Do you want to talk about like the logistics of it, or do we just want to like we're doing?
I think what's going to be important is for all of our 12 finalists, you'll receive emails with logistics. Yes. We will be hosting live one-on-one critiques with the finalists. The critiques are going to happen Thursday and Friday. You'll receive the details tonight, and from there you will have until Sunday to revise your story. It's optional, but since it's basically going to be put up to a vote, we recommend everyone revises it. It's a recommendation, but it will be optional. So that's going to be that portion. And then the competition itself, like our creepy host, Miss Jezebel, said, will be next Friday and Saturday.
And we will also be organizing a costume party beforehand. So I hope you're thinking about what kind of costume you might want to wear. Details forthcoming in the Discord. Yeah, you will have the weekend. For those of you who are going to be revising your short stories, you'll have the weekend. We will be in touch. It's going to be quick because we've got that competition coming up next week, but you'll have the weekend to revise. And then from there, should we tell them what's going on Monday?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so we're getting into the competition mood, and I'm going to come up with 3 different cover designs for the Freaky Friday Flash Fiction competition anthology, and we'll be voting on those in the live stream Monday. So get your
we'll vote on them on Monday. We'll
put
up a poll.
Fingers ready.
I know, and the cover is going to live in perpetuity. The the anthology will be given for free to each of the 12 finalists who won. It will then be published as an ebook on the Amazon store for $2.99. Now you could either go buy the ebook online, or It's going to be a giveaway as part of the $2.99 for the WriteNow YouTube membership. All proceeds are going to actually go towards improving the Discord. So I kind of made that determination. Any proceeds that the that we get towards the YouTube membership for the anthology is going to actually go into improving the Discord, the quality, and paying for the features on it. So that's my first goal with it. And then just going into advertising to bring more writers to the community. Yay. So that's our goal with it. Super excited. This is such a cool experience. I wasn't expecting how much fun everybody was going to be having with this competition.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely make sure to tell your friends, if whether you're a finalist, whether you're not, tell everybody about the live stream competitions next week, Friday and Saturday, because we need everyone to vote on which four are going to go on to become the grand winners.
The winner's circle, yes, and that announcement will be made Saturday night. So be there or be scared. I'm terrible at this.
And I think that's we're also gonna have the live costume party.
Yes,
we'll have the pre-live costume party on what day did we decide on?
I'm dressing up both days, so if y'all want to come hang out with me, we can show off our costumes. Yep. We can.
We're going to incorporate it into the Discord, so we'll incorporate into the Discord for anyone who wants to come play, show off their Halloween swag with us.
Absolutely, yes. That'll just make it so much more fun if you get dressed up to go to a scary flash fiction reading. Like, how often have you done that in your life? I have never dressed up.
Like, what a way to celebrate Halloween. I'm so stoked about this. This is my Halloween celebration for this year. So I'm stoked. I'm going all out with my costume.
I can't wait. I got a little sneak peek, and I must say,
and we have 12, hopefully 12. We're finalizing the last one. 12 professional guest authors who are going to be doing the live readings. So we're going to be having it's going to be a great experience. It's going to be very professional, very fun, a lot of voting, a lot of Halloween craziness. And I'm sure Jezebel has her own plan. If her magic works through the Aether and the technology difficulties.
Heads will roll.
Be there or be scared.
Oh, it sounds so much better when you do it. Yeah, you can have it.
Oh, we're gonna have to have Crazy do it. Actually, Crazy, we're going to need your sound effects.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And I think without further ado, let's bring up our other writer friends, because I think let's talk about writing. So let me bring up. We're gonna hop into our usual WriteNow writers group. And let me bring all y'all up. Chat, so welcome back to the stream. ML, hey guys. Welcome. And Crazy. My mood. Crazy's been taken over by a dark spirit.
Oh no! Crazy's ready for the costume countdown. He is the costume countdown.
He is the Crazy. I want you to say, all right, okay. Keep that on for a second. Can you give us an audio? You have to unmute yourself first and then tell us, be there or be scared.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Be there or be square.
That's going in the advertising.
That's going in the advertising. I was telling Crazy he has such great voices. I'm like, let's record some audio. That'd be great.
I wish you could do a Discord, like every time somebody said LOL or something, like Crazy was like the little sound bite.
You know what? I mean, okay. So for live streaming, and it's equipment that I just haven't been able to invest in yet. But professional live streamers have this thing called a stream deck. It's basically this big old thing where you can basically connect it to play. It's like different sound effects, different styles that you connect it with the stream. It basically makes the experience easier. But I know I want to make audio more of an improved experience with sound effects. So I'm like, all right, how cool would it be to have these crazy sound effects? Crazy sound effects. Crazy. When we get new subscribers or new people or somebody says something witty, so on and so forth.
And today is brought to you by the letter B for Brooks.
Crazy's got all the the writing vibes for us. Oh man. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for joining us today. And by the way, ML, congrats, my friend. I know you're the one up here who's a finalist. So, but thank you all. We are over the moon for the competition and clearly all the things we're working on.
Thank you.
Let's see. And it looks like there's a lot of celebration in the chat. You're like, Skull, congrats to all participants. It's a huge achievement. Guy, you're like, my connection is being a pain in the tush, so I had to hop off cam. Totally no worries, Bobby. Completely understandable. But appreciate you hanging out and trying to make the effort. Absolutely. Sometimes that's the problem with live streaming is like you have to have a certain level of internet or then it goes in and out. And especially when there's so many more people on it, as Soul knows very well, you gotta have a decent level of internet to make the video
Hey, I actually
experience
found out that it might be Microsoft's problem. I guess their latest update, some computers are actually not staying connected to their internet, so it's not me.
And that's what I say. If there's any technical problems, I just blame it on StreamYard.
Fair enough.
Oh man, but it looks like we have a lot of love here in the event. Courtney said you had a couple friends hopping on. Eli, you're like, my heart was pounding. Super excited to see the readings and get to see the anthology. And let's see, what do we got? All right, so, oh, Orion, Penelope, did you see we might have put Orion's in wrong? He said that the title wasn't Mr. He said he thought that was the title for like a prefix.
I saw that. I tried to get his attention just a second ago to see if we could get the actual title for it.
or Ryan, what we're going to email you. We'll send you guys the emails anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that fixed. No problems.
Oh, by the way, one of the finalists, the MacGuffin. Pen name the MacGuffin, the unusual suspect. For some reason, their email we didn't get their email. So the one finalist, we need an email from the MacGuffin. Since that's their pen name, I don't know actually who it is. I'm like, I generally recognize most everyone's pen names by this point, but the MacGuffin. So if anybody knows the MacGuffin or if the MacGuffin exists out there in the aether, reach out to us.
Bueller.
Please and thank you.
Bueller.
Let us know. Bueller. MacGuffin. MacGuffin.
MacGuffin.
Oh man. So with all that craziness out of the way, how's the writing vibe treating you guys this week?
Not bad. I've actually been getting some work done on the Forgotten Unicorn. So, according to my other writing group, the prologue is a complete mess.
I thought you were going to be so you're saying the prologue was forgotten?
No, it wasn't forgotten. It was just terrible.
It was just a hot mess. Okay. Sounds like that was
whatever's
fun.
worse than that is what it was.
Well, at least you're getting feedback on it. That's a huge plus.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a huge plus. And so like I know you have experience with other writing groups as well. Or they tend to be virtual groups, right?
Yep.
Do they usually share work in the Discord or in a Discord channel?
No, because the ladies that I'm with in my other group, I'm not sure if they'd understand how to use Discord.
Yeah, okay. Like a little bit of a channel. Well, the problem with Discord is if you've used it before, like, all right, you're familiar with it, but Discord as a platform isn't mainstream. It's still kind of like this niche platform that's great for community building, but I wouldn't say everybody understands Discord to the same extent that people understand TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So it's just it's interesting. And I'm not sure if that's because of the format, the layout of it. Actually, I'd probably put Discord on the same echelon as Twitch. I'd probably put that on the same echelon. So, but yeah, I know I definitely want to incorporate a story critique element in our Discord channel for sure. But yeah, in terms of like writing, I think I feel I feel pretty good. And by the way, if you're here in the community, if you're here in the chat, how is the writing vibes coming along for you guys this week? Have you been making progress? Drop a comment. We would love to hear from you guys. So, like with me and you, I know you guys have seen me on the daily live streams. I ended up adding a deeper level of like comedic situationalism to the first part of my story. And now like we have the first like 30 to 40 pages of the story where Scarecrow is basically a one-armed scarecrow trying to chase after this kooky crow who keeps basically name calling him throughout the first like 50 pages. And he finally like, and I just like, I thought of this visual scene. I thought of the crow is flying through the air. He basically keeps passing by the scarecrow, slapping him with his own arm. And I just thought there was like situational, like, all right. But then like the last time Scarecrow actually catches on, so then we have Scarecrow flying through this cavern, holding Scarecrow's dismembered or disjointed arm as Scarecrow's holding onto his own arm. And he's like flying through this like space. And I was like, that visual came to me and I'm like, perfect. We're going to make that a vibe. So that's where I'm at right now. Clearly I made a greater emphasis on world building and yeah, I mean, it's a greater development, greater emphasis on character building and world building for sure, especially with the second draft. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of curious for everyone here in the chat, how do second drafts usually go for you? Do you guys usually have like a specific strategy when you go into your second drafts? Or do you feel like, all right, I'm just going to go at it at random? So, I mean, you guys know you've seen me. I'm very strategic with mine.
It might take some time. Maybe a few weeks, perhaps a month.
Well, we've chatted before. For me, if I wait till the very end, I feel so overwhelmed with trying to start the editing process that I may edit as you go. I do maybe a few chapters and then I start the editing. And, and we've talked about, if I change something or add a detail, I may have to go back and add that. But if I wait until I've completely drafted a novel, it sits there for 15 years unedited.
You're like, all right, rough draft done. We'll start on the next start and come back to it in the next lifetime.
I know when I worked on the second draft for Pirates, I just basically I did it one chapter at a time. I went through and reread the chapter, made some edits, reread it, made some edits, reread it, and just kept going over and over until I was happy with where the chapter was. And it actually that actually worked for me because I was able to notice, like in the next chapter, oh wait, here's a part that I actually need to touch on. Here's a character that I need to add more to, instead of forgetting about that character or that moment. And then 10 chapters later, it comes up again and it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Like, okay, wait, hold on.
I actually did that in the second book, and yeah, I really need to go back and start editing that.
Yeah, and I mean, you're far into your series now, though, aren't you?
I'm working on the second book, and it is actually getting ready for it's actually getting near the end of its first draft.
Okay, are you but aren't you already working and writing on like books 3 and 4 already, or is it just like plotting?
So book 2 is primarily done. Book 3 is has a general outline, and the 2 antagonists have been picked out, and the order of certain things happening is already picked out and everything. And the fourth book, which is technically part of the series but kind of a standalone between books 2 and 3, that is more or less planned. And there are also short stories / little novella stories that are going to go with each of the books that are different points of view from different characters other than Kasai, so we can actually see what's going on in the story from somebody else's point of view.
Okay, I kind of like that, actually. I like that you're kind of mixing it up, but I feel like every author kind of does it differently in terms of like, every book different POV, or the whole series main character point of view and follow the cast of characters.
Yeah, and I think he's the main character throughout my entire series, but book 2 and book 3, the second protagonist is different. Each is different in both books.
I'm kind of curious because I think everybody in here either has a book series that they started publishing or they're working on developing a series. Like obviously for myself, you guys know Scarecrow is going to be a series. Clearly Soul, I know you've published the first book of your series. What about the rest of you guys? How many books do you plan in the series?
I've already
Crazy.
I've already published 7, and
Okay.
I believe I told you this Monday night. I'm thinking about 20 to 25 books.
Wow, and that's a high number, but that's so awesome. It just tells me there's that much to explore.
Mm-hmm.
ML, I forgot. Are you with your stories? Is yours a series or are they standalone?
Okay. The Dead Caster will be a series,
Okay, that's
and
what I thought.
because it's kind of like a more adult Harry Potter type. It takes place in a magical college. You know, the main character is a necromancer, and because it's a college, I've got a million students to choose from for any story I want to tell. And the other series, the Changeling Fate, is a novella series. And what the plan is there is each novella will then be placed together into a novel. It's going to tell one story, but it's being told. The first one is the story about being the changeling being found as a baby. The second one is dealing with him being growing up, and the third book, which I'm working on now, is dealing with his adult life. So,
Wow, so it sounds like each one's exploring like a different, I guess, like a different area, but then it sounds like different themes within the universe.
right.
That's actually kind of cool. I bought, and I asked myself the same thing with like the fantasy. I mean, granted, I guess I'm doing probably more post-apocalyptic fantasy in mine, but I asked myself, I'm like, all right, so what themes do I explore in each book, and then what does the entire series explore? Yeah, I mean, ML, does yours fall into urban fantasy? Would that be the categorization? Because I mean, usually school, that's like the school type of fantasy vibe is usually urban, isn't it?
Mine is more paranormal fantasy because the concept is that there are 4 parallel Earths, and because of Earth's global warming, the magical world could not get humans to, fix the environment. So all the Earths or all the parallel universe environments merged together into one, and they're because of the global catastrophe, and now all the magical realms and humans are having to try to survive on one merged world.
Interesting. Well, that sounds like that's a lot of fun. How did you end up coming up with the idea for this series?
Well, it's based upon our lives today with trying to deal with global warming. The magical world is divided into
What? Wait, there's no global warming. What's that?
no, I just had no power for 18 hours because of a hurricane.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, my
That was
friend. I
during
know.
you know
God,
what?
the weather craziness. Like obviously, we know there's been the tornadoes. We know there's been the flooding, the tsunami, and the stuff going on over on the east coast. I myself dealt with fires. I lived in a small community where we were literally surrounded by 6 separate fires this over the summer, and it was like we walked outside one of the days, and I felt like I was walking to the twilight zone. We literally walked outside. The sky is completely gray, and there's just ash falling from the sky. Like
but you
Man,
know,
for anyone who says global warming isn't a thing, like clearly the world is proving us wrong.
you know, Eastern Kentucky, this was Helena, and Eastern Kentucky didn't face anything compared to like North Carolina, but you know,
Mhm.
but and it also deals with political issues where the magical world is has two different factions. One is fascism based upon Roman mythology, and the other magical realm is based upon kingdoms, which is Greek mythology. So,
Oh yes,
and
I
uh,
approve of Greek mythology all the way.
and
So
and
you're Native American mythology. I forgot which one. Weren't you going like? Was it like Aztec or Mayan or something like that?
I tend to use Native American,
Native
and my book
American,
also used Aborigine.
Aborigine, because I know we all draw from different mythologies for our story. I know I do. ML, I draw from Greek mythology as well sometimes. Yeah,
I love Greek
same
mythology.
here.
Same here.
For anyone who knows Greek mythology, and you at least you know maybe some stories. Do you have a favorite Greek mythology story? If like you ever want to learn from from a mythos, Greek mythology stories, incredible character development, incredible. But obviously, Greek mythologies are generally more around thematic storytelling with the character journey as the underlying to serve the moral of the story. But absolutely, my favorite is Orpheus. Always love the Orpheus story where his wife dies. He goes to the underworld to save her, makes a deal with Hades. She can return with him back to the real world if she can follow him, but he can't look back. He almost leaves. He gets to the exit. She says something, he looks back, and she vanishes. It's a tragedy. Tends to be a lot of Greek tragedies, actually. Greek tends to be, I would say it's probably more like 60% tragedies.
At
Like the
least.
Greeks, they're like, all right, we're going to give you something happy. No, everyone dies.
He is that Orpheus and Eurydice in the Love
and
Spell
you're using.
Murders. And the I always liked the symbolism of the labyrinth and the idea of the Minotaur, especially since what I kind of figured out that the labyrinth kind of represents the brain in a way. It looks like a brain, you know, the way that it goes back and forth, the way that the mind goes back and forth, and the way that the Minotaur is this inescapable force pushing us to the center of our being, into the center of like, because as human beings, I think so often we circle things and we circle truths and things like that. And I just like the idea of, that's how I used it in the book, but I also ended up combining that with Pawnee mythology at one point.
Pawnee mythology?
I actually
Like
it was
Pawnee, like that's like another Native American,
Native
right?
American, Pawnee mythology.
Mhm.
And I actually ended up looking to the stars for some sort of relevance between the two, because there's an artist in my book, Harold Two Fist, who he's a Native American, a Pawnee artist, but he makes these kind of syncretic statues between Greek and Pawnee Pawnee aesthetics and Greek mythology. So he as a combination in a way to try to combine and to find a sort of piece with like Native Americans and the white European settlers that came here, which is all very nice and highfalutin and things like that. It actually causes a crack in like the ether, and magic starts leaking in, so it does get fun. But but yeah, I thought it was really, once I started looking at astrology and the relationship that the Pawnee had, and their designations of certain stars and what their aspects were. Like Mars had similar characteristics in both Greek mythology and in Pawnee mythology. And I was like, that's cool, because it's like stories are kind of, even though the Greeks and Pawnees never hung out together for centuries and centuries and centuries, like their stories
did.
Or maybe they did.
In the stars.
Yeah, in the stars, that's right. But I think that there's this universal aspect of storytelling that is just it's so cool when you dig into something and you find it.
Mhm.
like that similarity in there. That was
Completely agreed. Absolutely.
that
And
was an
I think
example.
it's interesting because astrology, well, I mean, it's not necessarily like a mythology, but
Mhm.
astrology is almost its own mythos in a way.
Mhm.
When you think about astrology and star signs, constellations, and it's rooted in so many foundational mythological groupings. It's definitely referenced and used a lot in Greek mythology, since considering
Mhm.
half our constellations are Greek
Greek
characters.
and
Mhm.
Roman. Yeah. And
And
I think
Roman. Yep, yep, yep.
there's an archetype. I think there's an archetypical energy that is expressed in the Greek and Roman mythologies that astrology is kind of draws from. I think it's really exciting too, because as we come into an era where things like gender and identity and their expression are being reevaluated, it's like
Mhm.
it's interesting to see the dynamics and how those mythologies are being changed and shifted to adapt to
Mhm.
just our social evolution
Mm.
of story. And it all goes back to
Mhm.
storytelling, which is great. It all comes back to how do we
This actually gives me kind of an interesting question. Does anybody know, like, if you know the answer to this, do you know how constellations, like, where that started? Does anybody know what the origin was of, like, all right, we're just going to look at these random stars in the sky and we're going to pick these ones will always be a constellation in a picture? Does anybody know the answer to that?
it's the oldest human invention is the constellation, because it's a timekeeping device. So
They date
Constellations
back
were
to
used as time.
prehistoric times.
yeah.
They were used as
I bel-
timekeep. I mean, even though it's like the night sky.
Yeah, I've always heard that in terms of like Egyptian
And sure, I mean, I would get that for like the sundial because obviously sun passing
yeah,
every day.
yeah.
But
But like
how would constellations help with the timekeeping?
well, it
Hey
would,
guys,
because go ahead.
I actually just looked this up,
Mhm.
and no, the earliest constellation stories were found in cave paintings, which
Interesting.
looks like they think they're about 17,300 years old. Those
That's
seem to be the
cool.
oldest ones that have been found, which
Mhm.
doesn't surprise me like one bit.
Yeah, I mean,
And of
when in
course,
a
it's in
world with no
southern
internet.
France.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean,
Native
considering that we
Americans.
originated from that hemisphere of that side of the world, not surprising at all. And I mean,
Um,
clearly they didn't have the smartphone back then, so
Mm.
they had to get creative with their life or death storytelling. So I'm not actually surprised by that. It's interesting.
that's cool.
Ooh.
Native Americans used them to tell for harvest. Any agrarian cultures would want like some sort of indication. So you can, if you
Mhm.
watch the constellations as they move during the course of the year, like certain, they would be in, they'd call like the one would be the plow. And
Yeah, and it's
when
like
the plow
it's like
reached a
east
certain
navigation.
angle,
Mhm.
it would be like, okay, yeah, and navigation. I mean, it's just a way to, it's kind of a way to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, like triangulate your position
Mhm.
on the earth and in time and space. So
I could see that for keeping track of the change of the seasons as well. That would totally
mhm.
make sense. And keep track of stuff by seeing what constellation is above the sun at the solstice.
But they're also
Interesting. Very,
stories.
very
They're
interesting.
also like, these are like the stories are written
Mhm.
into the stars as well. So, I mean, like the oldest craft might be storytelling, and the oldest artwork might be.
Yeah, no, the
Well,
oldest craft is storytelling. That is
yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
that is the basis of all humanity.
Mhm. Mhm.
The association, the
And then
ability to
that I
create
do know.
associations. Yeah.
And real quick, I just wanted to do a quick call out. Derek, thank you so much for the super sticker. I wish StreamYard actually let me look at the super stickers on StreamYard, which is why I go to here. Cool super sticker. I was like, if I could find it. Yes, it's the vibes. Vibes. Thank you for the vibes, my friend. Very much appreciated. I always have to call that out because I'm getting used to super stickers, super chats, and all that shenanigans. But thank you so much, my friend. So let's see. So I think constellations is a really good conversation. And let's see. So Eli was saying, I'll throw up here. Eli was saying the story element, I think is spot on. Absolutely. For like that's probably storytelling is the oldest art form. I would agree. Probably even before drawing and painting, because we had to start with verbal and then probably figuring out how to draw it, I imagine. I mean, yeah, I don't know, but I'm not a historian, so I don't know evolution all too well. We have any evolutionary or historians in the chat, but I'm assuming that we probably figured out how to speak first, and then we figured out how to do paintings and drawings.
Actually,
So
that's the funny thing. It is
Did we
presumed that
figure out
we
the
did
paintings,
that
drawings first?
actual. It's presumed that actual language did not evolve before paintings. That paintings was actually the first language that we had.
Painting was before we could even speak. We communicated through sketch on
It's
a stone wall.
believed. Let's see. What did I remember? Cave painting. So we didn't have actual like legitimate language first. We had more of something probably similar to sign language. Or we had kind of a general sound system, but it couldn't be equitable to a modern day language. But that we used symbols, and different kinds of drawings and paintings left in various places to show if there was dangers coming up, if there was something known in the area. Not exactly maps, but like a couple arrows a couple chevrons could be used for a river. Or there might be a symbol used for clouds to show that this area gets a lot of rain. Those are believed to be the first language system officially. And then after that, at some point, as Homo sapiens became more prominent, we developed a more concrete kind of vocal language.
So this brings up a really good question because Skull threw up a great comment here. I would argue music might be. So when we think about writing, when we think about drawing, do you know where how music played into it?
Music came after we could make sounds, but we probably could not call it music until we understood more of what we were doing, to be honest. Because I mean, yes, music doesn't need vocals, but we need to be able to make sounds. And
yeah, so then basically banging on things, creating some type of makeshift instruments, I imagine. Yeah, that's very fascinating. I know, Eli, you're like looking up at the stars, making up stories. What else do you have to do at night? I mean, that's basically your only entertainment. Sit around the campfire, assuming whenever we had fire, and telling stories or pointing at the sky, like that. Surviving, don't get killed by animals. I mean, that's really or I guess don't get killed by dinosaurs. Oh man. Thank you so much, Bobby. I appreciate you, my friend. So Eli was saying, so writing would predate speech. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Eli is saying dance is the oldest art form. Because technically dancing, you don't need sound. You just need to be able to move your body, which I could see dance being older before writing.
Yeah.
I could actually see that. Courtney, I feel like guys banging on things when they're bored has always been around, and women just clapping when mad. That predates everything. Oh my god, Skull was saying that one song, Smash Stick with a Rock, was a smashing hit.
That was a good song. Good song. I like it.
I was like, another contender would be Makeup. I feel like Makeup probably came after. This is interesting. We kind of start going down the rabbit hole, but I could see Makeup for like war paint, especially as survival and trying to be hunter gatherers. I would see that Makeup more for that aspect than anything, perhaps. But once again, a very interesting conversation. So it's like, I think that as it pertains to writing, like clearly writing has been around as one of the oldest art forms. And I think the one thing that has not changed, the one universal truth, is that we each have our own unique perspective. How do we share that unique perspective with the world? I think that's at heart. I mean, what does writing mean to you guys? I like now as we're kind of thinking about like the all of time and the history of the universe. What in this day and age, in the 21st century of the internet and the smartphone and streaming and all the craziness that goes along with it, what does writing mean to you?
Well, for me, being the old man in the room, you know, I grew up in a time where I saw no representation of myself. So
Okay.
I began writing as a way to craft stories uh, to where I could see uh, someone like me within a story. So I know it's different today, but remember, I'm the old man. So
I know. I think where we are fortunate to live in a time period where LGBTQIA plus, I think that's make sure I get all the current lettering, where all of the is more openly accepted and openly talked about. Now, to what extent, that's always the debate, of which for those who are a little older or who remember a day and age where that was um where just that wasn't normalized yet, at least within this current era that we're in. And then when we like pull back, like all of like the rights and whether even with just rights for individuals, like a lot of things that we're talking about, like we've really only been in this age of normalizing, whether it's LGBTQ rights or rights of minorities, in what, like the past 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years maybe. And I mean, I think it's always important to realize how much progress we've made and how much progress we still have to make as a society. And I think us being able to share our universal truths, like you said, ML, is absolutely incredible. It really is. Chat, so crazy. What does writing mean to you guys?
I'm actually kind of in agreement with Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of the stories that I write personally, it's ones that I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's stories that I may have read something similar, but I want to try to make that something a little more personal. And writing for me is in therapy. It's been a way to escape. It's been a way to take everything in my head and get it out before it hurts.
Like I have to get all these ideas before my brain hurts, and we can't lose it. I can't lose the idea to the aether and the mythos.
My mom used to
black
tease
hole.
that my imagination was too much for me, and she's not entirely wrong. I like to let it out, and it always comes out like with my writing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I think that's actually really cool. I know, I mean, for myself, like it's interesting because I could have been a writer in a past life, for anybody who believes in past lives. But I think something that's been very unique to me is I've known since I was probably like 5 or 6 years old that I wanted to be a writer. And I think the journey has been understanding myself to figure out what that meant. So writing's always been very intrinsic and natural to me. And I think for me, it's being able to create worlds and characters that previously didn't exist and sharing that as the art of storytelling with others. I think to me that's what writing is. What about you, Crazy?
To me, writing is basically releasing your imagination. You
Oh,
don't really
that's a
have
great
to.
quote. That's a great
Uh,
quote. Releasing your imagination.
yeah, it it could just be made up characters, made up locations. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be anything real. It's just pure imagination that you just let everybody else see, and they might like it. They might like what you can imagine in your mind.
Mm-hmm. John was
um,
saying writing means good question.
another way to look at it is, once you've written something, even though you may be gone, your words live on. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we go into legacy, right? And I mean, I think ML John's comment, writing for me means trying to be at the razor's edge of the freedom of speech. I think that kind of parallels being able to write for our identity. I think there's definitely an aspect of that. Yeah, it's it's just crazy. I think it really is. Thinker is saying, I think of writing as sort of emotionally processing the past, the present, and trying to see some aspect of myself in it in a triumphant way, kind of like a conscious dream. Megan is saying, writing is like creating a world of your own and getting lost in it, becoming part of that world.
Yes.
Skull is saying, I love the idea of making stories that I would enjoy, right? Being able to tell stories, like tell our own stories that aren't out there. Fates was saying, writing for me has been about entertaining those around me. I always believe myself to be an entertainer. Storytelling is often how I do that. So writing just made sense. Courtney was saying, I think it's crazy that all of you bring up imagination because I never felt like I had one. And to me, Courtney, that's so crazy because I think to write a story requires imagination. Now, I think imagination for and I hear this from people all the time, people who might not be writers. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard this statement from somebody. If you're like, hey, you say maybe like I'm a writer, I like writing, and then they're like, oh yeah, I like to write, but I'm not that creative. Or I like to write, but I'm not that imaginative. And maybe they're like a science major, maybe they're into tech or engineering or whatever, something that's on the opposite side of the spectrum. But to me, I think regardless of what you do, I think even though you might be using a different part of your brain, I think everyone has to use their imagination. I think the type of imagination that you're using to tell a story about Dungeons and Dragons is a different type of imagination that you're using to solve a difficult mathematical formula in that aspect. So I think everyone has an imagination. I think it's just framing what imagination means to you personally and how you're using it for whatever worldview makes sense to you.
Using the imagination to me is just basically getting away from real life stuff. I don't need that in my imagination, in my books, just to get lost in my own imagination, sharing it and whatnot. That's good enough for me.
Absolutely agreed. Mary is always coming in with a great quote. For every writer, there's a reason to write. I think it's literally just straightforward as that. Ryan is like, writing is how I express my hopes and fears and dreams of the future. That's actually very powerful. Atomic, something I read today, which you could apply to writing. Art isn't perfection. It's about exploration, expression, and evolution. Louise Fletcher. So as we're thinking about writing and we're thinking about the mythology, the mythos, the history of writing, and all of the stuff in between, now is a great time to hop into a writing sprint. So let's get a little bit of writing in. Let me pull up the timer. So I think let's go for a longer writing sprint today because we've had some great conversations. So I wanted to try this out. So let's all go for a 30-minute writing sprint. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
Try like make some. So I was like, instead of breaking up into two, let's just do one. We'll do one longer one, and then that way we can get some good. We'll try to make some good progress in it. We'll return after the sprint, and we can kind of keep talking about how it's going. So I know I want to make some progress with Scarecrow. Awesome. And then let me pull up the pictures. All right, so I have the background all set up on my end. All right, beautiful. Here we go. Awesome. So we got the writing sprint. So what we'll do is we'll do 30 minutes on the clock. And right before we start the writing sprint, now is probably a really great time because we've had such an excellent conversation today. Now is probably the time to do a quick subscribe before we hop into it. So I'm going to drop you guys from the screen real fast. Crazy. Take away our subscribe.
Oh, hi there. Hello. I would just like for you to press that subscribe button today. It'd be very much appreciated. And if you like this video, appreciate it if you click the like button as well. I'ma love you.
Brought to you by our friendly neighborhood gremlin. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. I couldn't help myself. I absolutely love that. And we'll bring you guys back up and let's get into it. 30 minutes on the clock, whether you're brainstorming, writing, or editing, it's all the same. Come join the community. Let's do it because it's time to write now. All right, drop your pens. Or step away from the keyboard. The writing sprint is over. And we are back. All right, 30-minute writing sprint. And I only got about 100 words. I started getting into it, and I just have way too many other things to do today. But that is quite all right. How'd the writing sprint treat the rest of you guys?
Well, Courtney was off by about 20. I actually got like 980 words. But part of that is because my hands started cramping. So
So I was like, so I would have gone 1,500, but my hand cramps, so we'll just call it sort of 1,000 today. Maybe we'll do 2,000 next week.
So I'm not going to brag about my 28 words I wrote. Less than a word a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we had 30 minutes, so you got just under 1 word a minute. So I think 100 words a minute. Oh man, it's crazy. Were you able to make any progress in your end?
I got about 110.
All right, so you and me got about the same.
Yeah.
Like, nice. Trust me, my writing today isn't for a lack of a desire. Trust me.
And I couldn't help but see the chat talking about making you blush, and I was like, yes, blush your soul out.
It's just one of those things, because I know Courtney and Bobby were talking about it, and we're talking about just the editing, because I'm going to be editing their stories, and they were just talking about the experience of what this community provides, and it's so hard for me to not blush or want to cry. And the reason being is because I've loved writing my entire life. Like, literally, I've loved it near my entire life. And I know, like, for me, how intrinsic and how authentic it has always been. And I knew that I was always going to do something with it outside of myself. But when I realized that I could create a community and do something that really helps bring motivation to writers, and especially with how hard it is to write a book or write a script or write everything. I mean, that statistic still like rings in my mind every time. 97% of new writers fail. So the fact that I felt that I could create a community that could bring daily value to the writing experience, I just made me realize I felt like that's something that I was destined to do. So like, I've literally never in my entire life felt more creatively fulfilled. And despite all like the ups and downs of being a new business owner and taking 10 steps back to take steps forward in this part of my life, like, it's once again, I would have made the same decision to pursue this path with a trillion times over. And it just makes me really happy, because I want to see more people, want to see more writers succeed, because that's how we change the world. That's how we put out our messages, we put out our stories. Earlier, like you said, ML, like being able to share about your personal identity that you didn't see out there, and all the different reasons for writing. That's what writing is about. And being able to see that it's like helped even one person, to me, is incredible. So it just makes me feel honored. One of these days I'll have somebody will say something and I'll probably just like start crying on stream. But for now, I'm loving the progress we're making. Absolutely. And then speaking of like the finals, like, everyone's super excited about the finalists. I think that is so cool. I think that's absolutely amazing. And it sounds like we actually got some good progress. So outside of our low word counts, it looks like Megan got 437 words here for my new chapter, for my new fanfic. Awesome. You made more than us. Courtney, like, you're fired. I was like, oh man. Megan was like 980 words to our chat soul over here. Like, Soul is on a roll. Soul's always on a roll. Soul looks like you got 157. Congrats. Absolutely. Let's see. Awesome. Atomic getting 167 words. You're kind of over here with us. So kind of around that like low 100s words count. And then Thinker, I came in at about 120 words of indeterminate quality. And I think depending on where we're at in our indeterminate, I think that's hilarious. Indeterminate. But I think regardless of where we're at in the process, like I think if we're in the first draft of a book, then it's like high word count because we want to get through it. But then if we're in later drafts, then it's like I feel like the amount isn't as important if you're in a later draft because clearly you're in the stage where you're trying to refine an idea. I think that's always something really important to keep in mind. Even though we're at all different word counts, to never compare your word count to somebody else. We do it as a friendly competition. I actually love that. And I feel inspired to beat Soul one of these days. So I'm telling you, I'm challenging you to like a word count competition. And if I'm literally focused the entire time, I can definitely beat you. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my heart. Well, like on the same ground, we'll have like the same, like we'll like do some type of short story or free write thing. And we'll see who can write the most words. I was like, I believe in
honestly, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Oh man, the last time I did on screen like free write competition, I did one I think it was 6 months ago. This was still early on in it when I did Kaufman versus the AI, and we did like an AI stream. I was like to see if we could write a story better than the AI. So we'll set that up. We'll set it up on a future stream once the craziness of the holiday events isn't as prevalent. So awesome. But I feel like it sounds like we're all making some good progress. Scroll was saying I finally started this manga script I've been putting off, so it feels amazing to be able to lose myself in a story that I get to read while I write. So amazing. So we have another competitor here. Bobby is saying challenge accepted.
Yeah, no, he beat me last week.
I know. For once, after months, so we're in what? Meeting 14. So we're at what, 4 so about 3.5 months of our writing group now. And Soul finally got beaten by Bobby. That like last Wednesday was like a monumental, like crazy like achievement. I didn't think anybody could beat Chat Soul outside of myself when I'm ready to beat them.
So beautiful.
And apparently Courtney, because she's not going to let us forget that.
I beat Soul once. I'm gonna clip that stream.
Yes.
I love how the status quo in the community is just going to be to beat Chat Soul. Soul, you've set a precedent. It's like you like the first like 6 writing group, because you've been here every writing group with us. The first six writing groups, like every single time it was like extraordinarily higher than everybody else. So now you're like motivating everyone to try to beat you. I think it's awesome. Oh, I think I vaguely remember Corny was like, I mean, come on, Smut took you down. Oof. So I was like, all right, if there's a genre that can beat me, I'm fine with that one. Oh man, that cracks me up. Well, I think we've gotten some good writing shenanigans and craziness today. Any as we're approaching this part of the stream, any other writing thoughts on your guys' minds?
You got something?
Oh, your cat just gives us that look. I know, and actually, let's see. Megan posts up Smut Talk. Speaking of Smut, there is on the Discord channel. There actually is a channel for mature content. So anything that would be smut, erotica, something to that in that genre, things not suitable for children, and 18 plus. So there is an 18 plus channel on there. Same for artwork. We'll probably add to the more non-traditional writing styles over time. I just know that was one of the first requested ones. What's your cat's name, Soul?
This actually, he has a name inspired by one of my favorite book series. His full name is Crow That Flies at Night, but we just call him Crow.
Your cat's name is Crow. Emil's laughing. You know why I'm laughing. So I don't think I ever realized that your cat's name was Crow.
Does he ever steal your hand and smack you with it?
There it is.
No,
I'm
this
waiting for
cat,
that.
what he does is he yells at me because I'm not petting him, even though I'm holding him. And then he yells at me for not doing it more.
Oh. He
You're just a
yells at.
baby.
So he's a little attention. He's an attention craver.
He's basically a dog.
I have a little brown dog that does the same thing. I told him I was going to ship him to his other father.
Oh man, I had a cat that didn't like people, and they started being forced to live amongst people, and now they love people. Oh man. Well, I think it's been absolutely awesome today. I think now's probably a really great time to shout out for any of our members here who have not yet jumped in the Discord. You should. We got vibes for all the Discord stuff. There's the Discord link down in the comments. It's also down in the YouTube description. We're all in there. Definitely, whether you want to just chat about random writing things, whether you want to talk about writing questions for like publishing, ideation, development, or do writing sprints outside of the stream. We're slowly adding more and more each week. So it's super active. It's been pretty active every day. So definitely come join us on the Discord because this is only the beginning. The next stepping stone I will incorporate will be games. So that'll be my next go-to. But for now, definitely come join us. Hop in there because we got a lot coming up. So I think we'll probably do the poll tomorrow for our choose your own adventure.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll figure out. We'll drop the poll tomorrow for the next choose your own adventure event. Obviously, the Freaky Friday competition live events is next weekend, and then you're literally getting community. You're getting smacked in the face right after that with the choose your own adventure event. We're going back. We're not even giving you time to breathe. So like you get to come hear spooky stories, and then you got to come join us and help us write a story together. So it'll be a first. I've never written a choose your own adventure story before. Soul has more experience than I do, but the challenge is going to be the genre. So like we're going to kind of be balancing out each other's. We're going to be balancing out our experience and creativity. So that's going to be quite a lot of fun. ML and Crazy, I hope you guys will join us as well. And when we hit November, it's going to be fun. Where I envision, I'm like, all right, how many authors can we get into one manuscript for our choose your own adventure craziness? So it's going to be a trip. Let's see. And excellent. So with that being said, I think it's time to hit this part of the stream. Soul Crazy ML, thanks for joining us this week. It's been a great session. We'll be back next week with our weekly writers group. And yeah, y'all have been great. Thank you again, my friends. And as I tie out the stream and we look towards creative writing on the morrow, I'll be back with an early live stream, 11 a.m. Pacific, 11/12, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thursday is our early writing live streams, so we can get some writing done a little earlier in the day. So our one day of the week where we go early. So that's Thursday. This weekend, we have some writing events. Saturday is our story and critique show. So if you need feedback on your story, submit it now because episode 31, this is going to be the last story and critique show until December. So we'll be taking a month break from the critique show. So if you need feedback, submit now. Link is down in the YouTube description under writing events. And then Sunday is going to be a podcast episode. We're actually going to be exploring our author wrote a ghost story or wrote a spooky story in a haunted like penitentiary. Like it's super creepy. And I have never heard this type of story before. So that's going to be our Sunday Create Right Now podcast episode. So we got a lot going on the rest of the week. And yeah, and any of our finalists will be emailing you after the stream. And if you enjoyed the stream, tap that like button on your way out. Let us know. Help us show the algorithms that writing streams are cool. All right, my friends. And that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.